What happened?
How did they know I was here?
What are you talking
Madeline,
about?
how did they know I was here?
Bond 26 is going to change things up in a big way. New studio, new actor, new story, and a new director. And the director? Well, rumor has it that none other than Christopher Nolan might be taking the helm thanks to Amazon MGM Studios. According to a new report from Puck, the recent shakeup in ownership of the James Bond franchise has significantly boosted Christopher Nolan's chances of directing the next film. Previously, the biggest obstacle was the Broccoli family, who controlled the rights through Eon Productions. Until recently, Bond was fully owned and produced by Michael G. Wilson and Barbara Broccoli at Eon Pictures. But with their new partnership with Amazon MGM Studios, Amazon now has full creative control over the character, while Wilson, Broccoli, and the studio still share ownership of the franchise. In a statement regarding the move, Amazon MGM Studios head Mike Hopkins said, "We are grateful to the late Albert R. Broccoli and Harry Saltzman for bringing James Bond to movie theaters around the world, and to Michael G. Wilson and Barbara Broccoli for their unyielding dedication and their role in continuing the legacy of the franchise that is cherished by legions of fans worldwide. We are honored to continue this treasured heritage and look forward to ushering in the next phase of the legendary 007 for audiences around the world." After the announcement, Daniel Craig, a fan-favorite James Bond star, shared a heartfelt message. "My respect, admiration, and love for Barbara and Michael remain constant and undiminished. I wish Michael a long, relaxing, and well-deserved retirement, and whatever ventures Barbara takes on, I know they will be spectacular. I hope I can be part of them." Craig first stepped into the role of the iconic British spy in Casino Royale and went on to reprise it in Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, Spectre, and No Time to Die. Amazon MGM Studios acquiring the James Bond franchise isn't the only big news surrounding the series. Austrian businessman and real estate mogul Josef Kleindienst has filed multiple legal challenges aiming to cancel trademarks for key Bond phrases like Bond James Bond and the codename 007. According to patent attorney Mark Cattle, the argument behind these filings is that the Bond trademarks haven't been actively used for the goods and services they cover, particularly in the EU and UK. Kleindienst seems to be targeting aspects of the franchise that haven't been utilized in industries like luxury vehicles over the past 5 years, potentially looking to claim them for his own ventures. Anyway, coming back to Amazon taking over the James Bond franchise, which increases Christopher Nolan's chances of directing. With Amazon now in charge, Puck speculates that Nolan could be the top choice for the job. He also thinks that if Amazon MGM Studios gives Nolan full creative control and a long theatrical run, similar to his 120-day deal with Universal, it would be well worth it, practically guaranteeing a blockbuster hit. Nolan directing a James Bond movie wouldn't be all that surprising. He's openly expressed interest in the franchise before, but one thing that held him back was the creative limitations that came with it. Nolan previously mentioned that working on a Bond film meant following a specific set of rules, whereas he prefers having full creative control. Belloni suggests that with Amazon now in charge, Nolan might have more freedom than he would have under the Broccoli family's management. However, one big hurdle is Nolan's schedule. He's currently working on The Odyssey, a massive project with a star-studded cast, including Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, Zendaya, Robert Pattinson, Lupita Nyong'o, Charlize Theron, and Emmy winner Jon Bernthal. Since The Odyssey is set for a July 2026 release and is still in production, this could push Bond 26 even further down the line. That being said, Bond 26 has already been moving at a slow pace, and with this major shakeup, it seems like they're basically starting from scratch. Nolan has previously said that he wants to feel really needed on a project and valued for everything he brings to a character. That means he'd likely want a say in key decisions, including casting. If Amazon MGM Studios is willing to give him that level of creative control, his involvement could become even more likely. When it comes to casting, few debates in Hollywood get as heated as picking the next James Bond. But honestly, they're seriously limiting themselves with their strict age rules. Bond started out in Ian Fleming's novels back in the 50s, and it didn't take long for the character to hit the big screen. Since 1962, plenty of actors have stepped into the role, each putting their own spin on the iconic spy. Most of them have stuck around for several films, playing Bond for over a decade. But lately, the casting process seems way more rigid, with strict guidelines on who can and can't take on the role. Even though certain actors keep getting brought up by fans, the studio seems dead set against casting anyone they think is too old. Former Bond director Martin Campbell made this pretty clear about the idea of bringing back someone who previously auditioned for the role. His response shut down the possibility of casting anyone over 36, since they want an actor who can handle about 5 films over 15 years. That basically rules out a lot of fan-favorite picks, including some of the top choices. Campbell didn't hold back, saying, "No, they're all too old. They're all too old." He pointed out that Bond actors usually stick with the role into their 50s, like Roger Moore, who was around 56 by the time he wrapped up. So from the studio's perspective, they need someone young enough to carry the franchise for years, meaning mid-30s is the sweet spot. Henry Cavill, Idris Elba, and Tom Hiddleston are some of the most stylish, talented, and charismatic actors in Hollywood. All of them have shown interest in playing Bond, and each would bring something unique to the role. But just because they're slightly over the studio's age limit, they're automatically ruled out? That just doesn't make sense. Ignoring that much talent and potential over an arbitrary rule seems like a major missed opportunity. Besides, does Bond really have to commit to 5 movies? Even if that were the case, older actors could still pull it off. The idea that age limits action potential is outdated. 50 today isn't what it was 50 years ago. Hollywood still proved time and time again that actors can still deliver top-tier action performances well into their later years. Look at Keanu Reeves. He made a name for himself in action films back in the 90s, but then completely redefined the genre with John Wick, a role he started at 50 and is still crushing at 60. Cavill and Elba have also led action-heavy projects recently, and neither seems like they're slowing down anytime soon. With top-tier trainers, expert nutritionists, and the best support systems in Hollywood, these guys are staying in peak physical shape well past 50. So why not let them take a shot at Bond? But honestly, what's so bad about having an older James Bond? A lot of fans have been excited about the idea of past Bond actors, like Pierce Brosnan, coming back for a one-off movie or even a short series that shows Bond as a more seasoned, refined spy in his later years. When Fox brought Hugh Jackman back as an older, worn-down Wolverine in Logan, it was a massive hit. There's no reason Bond couldn't pull off something similar. The franchise has always hit the reset button by casting a mid-career agent, never letting Bond truly evolve. But imagine if they brought back someone like Brosnan or cast an actor in their 40s or even 50s. It would be a perfect chance to take Bond in a fresh, exciting direction. He's supposed to be the world's greatest spy. Are we really supposed to believe that as soon as he turns 50, he suddenly loses all his skills? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, because we'll be covering more updates on Bond 26 and other exciting upcoming movies and series. See you next time!